Welcome everyone! We will discuss some terms related in consumer behavior. Consus, acronym that refers to the close similarity in values between Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and United States. These four countries have similarities in values such as freedom, equality, love for family, fairness, safety, and many more. Common consumer products, retailers, and restaurant chains that are successful in one of these countries tend to be successful in others as well. Socialization, learning through observation of and the active processing of information about lived everyday experience. Humans need social experiences to learn their culture and to survive. Socialization essentially represents the whole process of learning throughout the life course and is a central influence on the behavior, beliefs, and actions of adults as well as of children. As a marketer, interaction with consumers helps us to know what are their behavior towards the products. Enculturation, way a person learns his or her native culture. Filipinos are not born liking balot or boiled duck, but because of our native culture, we can see that our parents and relatives loves to eat balot. As a child, we are adopting their culture and eventually will also try to eat balot. Acculturation, process by which consumers come to learn a culture other than their national native culture. Because of different Korean restaurants that are already established in the Philippines, Filipinos are starting to learn the culture of Koreans by eating sushi, ramen, samgyeopsal, and many more. This is an example of acculturation. Ethnic identification, degree to which consumers feel a sense of belonging to the culture of their ethnic origins. Filipinos that working abroad has a strong ethnic identification. Most of the values in Saudi Arabia refuse or avoid to learn Arabic and mostly choose to interact only with other Filipinos. This is an example of ethnic identification. Consumer ethnocentrism, belief among consumers that their ethnic group is superior to other and that the products that came from their native land are superior to other products. United States is a powerful country, and because of that, they also believe that their domestic products are superior and much better compared to foreign products, especially if the foreign products came from China. This is an example of consumer ethnocentrism. Quartet of institutions, four groups responsible for communicating the CSV through both formal and informal processes from one generation to another: family, school, church, and media. For example, one is always watching a movie that family is always rich, and because of that, it influences acculturation and generally presume that the typical family should be rich and famous. Pedro is not watching a movie ever since, and because of that, he generally presumed that the typical family should be living with a simple life. Modeling, process of imitating others' behavior, a form of observational learning. Young children, for instance, observe their parents and model their behavior at least until adolescence. This is Shana. She always imitates her mother because she believes that whatever her mother is doing is also perfectly fine to do. Shaping, a socialization process by which consumers' behaviors slowly adapt to a culture through a series of rewards and sanctions. David decided to get a trendy haircut as a way of trying to get fit in. The way that other people will react on his new hairstyle can serve to shape the future behavior of David. This is an example of shaping. Verbal communication, transfer of information through either the literal spoken or written word. President Rodrigo Duterte's SONA for 2017 is example of spoken verbal communication. Notice from the back is example of written communication. Dialects, variations of common language. For example, Mabalos means thank you in Bicol. Magyamanak means thank you in Ilocos. Translational equivalence. Two phrases share the same precise meaning in two different cultures. Here is an example of translational equivalence between Alamblak and English. An English speaker might analyze the Alamblak word means yesterday or tomorrow. The two English words are the simple translational equivalence. Metric equivalence. Statistical tests used to validate the way people use numbers to represent quantities across cultures. If you are 5'8" feet tall in the Philippines, you will be rated as tall. But if you are in United States, you will be rated as short because of the metric equivalence in each country. Non-verbal communication. Information passed through some non-verbal act. In the Philippines, if you ask someone's condition and he thumbs up to you, it means he's okay. That is example of non-verbal communication. Body language. Non-verbal communication cues signaled by somatic responses. Crossing arm is an example of body language. It's a signal of defensiveness and resistance. Fidgeting means you are nervous. Etiquette. Customary mannerisms consumers use in common social situations. In Western countries, shake hands is their way on greeting other person, but in Asian countries, bow is usually their way. Purchasing power parity. Total size of the consumer market in each country in terms of total buying power. This is an example of GDP based on purchasing power parity of every country last year 2013. US is still the #1 spot at that time in terms of GDP, followed by China, Italy, Japan, Germany, and Russia. But as we know, China is now leading the #1 spot for the year 2017. India. Combined market and business potential of China and India. This is a strategic way of China and India to boost their economy through combining their market and business potential for further improvements of their country. Globalization. Idea that marketing strategy may be global, but the implementation of that strategy at the market tactics level should be local. In Western countries, not everyone is eating rice. However, in the Philippines, Filipinos really love to eat rice on every meal. And because of that, combining a rice and chicken into McDonald's is example of globalization. Thank you for watching!